Hello, guys. We are interviewing Jose today. Jose was in my program and finished with me about 8, 9 weeks ago. So we're just going to go through, ask some questions, and have a conversation about Jose's experience since leaving the Lean Project about 8 or 9 weeks ago. So, Jose, cast your mind back to before we started working together. Where would you say you were with your health and fitness?
So I was probably stuck on this cycle of not being able to make any progress and not really knowing exactly why or how. And I kept looking at things I had done in the past that had worked, but for whatever reason, they just weren't really working. And it was this kind of like me trying to kind of go around in a little bit like a headless chicken, like not knowing exactly where, like how to put some sort of structure in place.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's where I was really.
Okay. All right. And I know going back, this can be a little bit like conversational once certain things pop up. I'm just going to ask them, to be honest. So going back before we started, I know you enjoyed exercise and you was doing a lot of exercise, but not quite getting the results you wanted in terms of physique. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, yeah, hitting the gym, more or less, more consistency, less consistency, but there was this sort of like, 3 to 5 days a week, let's say. But yet still there was no, it wasn't really, I didn't feel like it was showing in the way I looked when I looked at myself in the mirror. So, um, so yeah, it was just, it was, I guess in a way it was actually frustrating because I was like, oh, well, I'm spending all this time making all this effort, waking up early, and yet I'm not actually seeing, so like great results.
All right. I think that can actually be more frustrating for somebody than if maybe you're not doing the exercise. So if you're not doing the exercise, you can go, well, I'm not doing the exercise. But if you are doing the exercise, you're doing the hours in the gym, I think that place can actually be even more frustrating because you're like, well, I'm doing everything I should be. I'm in the gym.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So just remind me, what was the outcome from our 12 weeks together? What was your weight loss in the 12 weeks we worked together?
So I think just before I started the heaviest I was before I started the program, which was maybe a month before I started the program, I was on like 80, around 86 kilos, 85, 86 kilos. I think I started the program and I was probably around 84. I hadn't actually lost that much before. And then by the end, I was down probably around 76, 76, 75. I think it was kind of around that. I think the last week I was, yeah, probably around just nearly like just past 75. So altogether I was, a good nearly 10 kilos, which was, quite good, like really good for me, I think. You know, get for me going down from like from 80, that was like where I was getting stuck all the time. I could never really go down from 80. So yeah, so going down to like 77, 76, 75 for me was just like amazing.
All right, nice. And for everyone watching this that doesn't work in kilos, 9 to 10 kilograms is sort of like 20 to 22 pounds, which is incredible for 12
Yeah.
weeks, especially when, it's great anywhere, whatever weight you are. But I think, like you say, when you've maybe hit a plateau at like getting past that 80 to then go down those extra levels is really impressive. Um, why do you think you had that success in the program? For you, because everyone's journey is differently, but for you, why do you think you had the success you did in losing the 9 to 10 kilograms?
So for me, I think the main thing was the, I guess, was having that um path and kind of knowing, well, learning little by little. Okay, this is what I needed to do, and then just keep kind of repeat. It was that consistency that I think I was missing from before. And then little the tricks, you know, the habits that I didn't actually have from before. Like I didn't really understand the importance of drinking water, for example, of counting calories, and you know, all those little things that at the end, when you kind of look back, you know, 12 weeks, once you've been in the program for 12 weeks, and you look back and think, oh, you know, I wasn't doing any of this before, and now these things have become part of my daily routine. Then I think that was really what made the biggest difference, you know. Having that consistency of like, okay, this is what I do, and this how I do these things, and I just do it over and over and over and over and over again. And yeah, it just seemed to like really, really work. So yeah, I think that's what it was.
All right, nice. And I think what you touch on there is really important. Just bringing in little habits each week. Each week they build up, and then, like you say, they just fit into your lifestyle. So you don't necessarily notice until you reflect in 12 weeks' time and look back and go, "Wow, I've done all these changes." And these
Yeah,
are all things that I never did. Week
yeah,
one, I wasn't
exactly.
doing these, and they all just built up like week by week. So yeah, I think that's really cool. Um, so I know like many people have success with weight loss. We see it a lot. Many people have success with weight loss, but a lot of people put the weight back on. I think it's actually something like 95% of people actually put the weight back on. So, how's it been for you? We finished 8, 9 weeks ago in terms of keeping the weight off. How's that been for you in the last 8 or 9 weeks?
So it's been good. I had a little like hiccup with health issues and things like that, but I haven't actually put all the way back on. I put some of the way back on, and then I'm kind of now, you know, sort of like I'm kind of in like a steady weight that for me, I think at my age and my size and what I do is actually healthy. So yeah, so now obviously like Christmas time and like December, and like there's chocolates and there's like sweets and there's things going around, you know, the salon, and my mom sent food from Spain, and it's just like, so I'm not in a situation where I'm kind of like obsessed with fitness. But yeah, definitely I haven't actually put, you know, somehow I've managed to stay in those sort of like mid 70s to like below 80
Mm-hmm.
kilo mark, which for me is my kind of like ideal. And as long as I'm not above 80, I think I'm fine. So yeah, that's kind of worked for me.
All right, nice. Because just remind me, I think we figured out on one of our calls that the weight you got down to, like, I think it was either below 80 or was a certain weight. And we reflected, and I think you worked out it was like something like 5 years since you'd been at that weight, wasn't it?
Yeah. I hadn't actually been around 77, 75 for like, yeah, 5 or 6 years, I think it was. Yeah.
Which is quite incredible. And it sometimes when you reflect on it, you're like, wow, it's been that amount of time. So um why do you think it is that you've managed to keep the weight off? Because I know you've had some, like you said, some health struggles, and the gyms have been closed, and it's not been easy, right, leading up to Christmas. But you've obviously had some success. Why do you think that is?
I think that it's definitely been the calorie counting. I think is the part that I probably felt like it was the most daunting when kind of you first started suggesting, oh, you know, let's start counting calories, and now has become part of my day-to-day routine, where even if you don't count everything, but even if you just put like 2 or 3 of your 4 meals of the day, I think that it's already like you kind of have an idea of more or less what you've been eating. Or even if you, I don't know, like if I know I'm going to have a dinner that I know is going to be quite high in calories, like pizza or whatever, you know, I just think, well, if my other 3 meals are a little bit moderate and I know more or less what I'm having, I don't feel like I'm, you know, so out of my, in this like massive like surplus of calories. I just think like, well, I should have had 2,000 today. And I've had a pizza, which is probably like 800 or something like
Yeah.
that. But I know if my other two meals are actually not that bad, and still this like little thing that I know is healthy, then more or less I can kind of have an idea of what I'm doing. Um, so yeah, so I think that when I couldn't go to the gym at all, I just thought, well, at least this is something I can control, which
Hmm.
is what I'm eating, how much water I'm drinking, um, even if you can just go for walks. So at least there's always like little things that you can do that feel like somehow you're gonna have a bit of control. And yeah, and I think that actually really works, because then you're not completely like blind on what you put in on your body, how much food, um, all those things. So yeah, I think that is pretty much, and kind of like it's sort of also like I feel like I've noticed I now have a lot of knowledge about certain foods that are better, or that that, oh, like, wow, like, I don't know, like, to give you an example, a courgette, I didn't realize it has so much protein. And then it's this thing that is, or prawns or scallops are very low in calories, and you eat a lot, you're very filled, there's a lot of protein, but your calorie intake's still quite low. So it's like you learn about these foods, I think like, oh wow, like I didn't know that I could have all of this and still be on a calorie deficit, or like have a meal that I could have had, I don't know, 600 calories, but I've I've typed it all these in and it's 400 calories and I'm full already. I can't have any more food. So I think that is probably like the biggest weapon, I would probably say, in order to keep things a little bit more under control.
Yeah, I think you made some really good points there, and I think what people get concerned about when people hear calorie counting, oh, that's a pain, and I don't want to do that forever. And it's like, well, if you look at it as like you said, maybe like an educational tool, you're going to learn about proteins, carbs, fats, calories. You're going to get an education maybe for a period of time. Then the more you use it and get good at it going forward, then you don't need it. You
Exactly.
might need it for a period of time, learn a lot, and then you don't need it. I think that's the beauty of counting calories. And like you say, you do then have that control. I think people just think of it as, oh, it means I'm going to restrict my foods. But in a way, if you get good at it, you can actually have more food because you
Yeah.
just have a consciousness of what you're eating.
Yeah.
It's yeah, some really, really good points there. So um, I know that there may be people watching this that have seen the results my clients get and just wondering if it works for them. So, what would you say to anyone that's just sitting on the fence at the moment and just thinking, do you know what? Should I work with Michael? What would you say to anyone sitting on the fence at the moment?
I would say just do it, because I think the habits that you build and the knowledge that you get stays with you basically forever. There's, and I've noticed that you kind of pass it on. Like, I've given tips to my family, to my sisters, to my mom, and this is something that works for everyone. Like, I was getting quite, like, I was back home, and my mom was going to this nutritionist back home, and
Mhm.
my mom is like mid 50s to nearly her 60s, bit of weight, menopause, all these things that women go through. And I said to her, so that my issue with where you going is that she's just telling you what to do. You still don't know how many calories and what are the things that you need to do in order to lose weight for a long period of time. So you're going to this place for someone to just tell you what to eat, but you still don't have an understanding of the foods that you're eating, why you're eating them, why is it important to eat them this way, or that, and you're still not building any new habits. So you're going into this thing where once you stop going to this person, let's say, you're still blind or a bit naive about what is that you actually need to do. So I actually got my sisters to and my mom to download, the app to count calories and, to get into habits of, and I suggested you don't need to count everything, but if you're going to have pasta, maybe the pasta that you're having, yeah, wait, the pasta, because that is probably the thing that is going to, add more calories to that plate. So that's the one part that, yeah, but if you're going to have vegetables, kind of like free range, because vegetables, you know, so yes, I've noticed myself kind of like giving little tips away to people. Even I live with my friend Steve, so again, like for him, that's again like just having an understanding of what you need to do. And I think I would probably say anyone who's thinking about it, just to go ahead, because yes, it's 3 months where you make an investment on yourself, and it goes way beyond your fitness or the way you look outside or on the outside. I think it kind of taps into like little parts of your brain where you actually figure out things about yourself that maybe you didn't know before, or you knew and you didn't know exactly how they were connected to your fitness or to the way you look, or the way you want to look. So yeah, I'll probably say just do it. It's the best investment I've made, really.
You don't have to say that, Jose.
But it's true.
All right. Yeah, some really good insights, and I recognise this actually. It happens often. The coach, as in you, then starts becoming the coach for other people, and it's that what I call like when you drop a stone in the ponds, it's the ripple effect. So
Yeah,
obviously you're the client in the program, but it affects you. If you've got a partner, if you've got kids, your family, your work colleagues, that positiveness and what you learn, you want to pass it on to people. You see people doing things in the wrong way. I like to think we do things in the right way, and you want to pass on that knowledge. So I see that.
exactly.
That's really cool. Whether or not people are as receptive to it, then that's a
Yeah,
different matter, because it's people. But yeah,
exactly.
that's awesome. So what we're going to do now, I actually got a few questions from some guys in the group. I just thought it'd be good to open up to the group and get them to ask any questions that they thought would be relevant. So
Yeah.
the first one is, how have you coped since leaving the Lean Project?
Yeah, quite well. I think what I've done is just set myself like little goals that I've got on a board in the kitchen.
Right.
Like work out this amount of days, or have this amount of protein. Like a little reminder of like drink water. 2 to 3 liters basically. So yeah, that's really what I've been doing. So I didn't feel like it was this, oh wow, like now I'm not gonna kind of check in every week with Michael. So it's, yeah, for me that wasn't the hardest part, I think. So yeah, and even like I've been going, okay, well, I'm going to try to be on this calorie deficit or this calorie deficit, and like really try to, I guess, like hold myself to the standards that I basically like, because throughout the program I was basically pretty much, it was me setting up the goals, guided by you, but it was just like, well, what do I want to work on this week? So it's kind of been the same, but just kind of checking in with myself, and checking in with like weighting myself, often enough to make sure that I know where I am, whether it's in the gym or at home, without being obsessed, but just check in and kind of say, okay, well, this is maybe a bit too much, so let's be a little bit more mindful, little things like that.
All right, awesome. I just call that keeping yourself accountable. Obviously,
Yeah,
through the program, we have our calls and you're accountable to me, but I think you've got to be accountable to yourself if
exactly.
you want the results to last. And I always think of it like a bank account. So if you budget in your bank account, at some point you need to check how much money you've got in your bank. So you just face it and you say, okay, cool, this is where I am.
Yeah,
You're much more likely to budget your bank account then if you look at it. So the next question is coming in from Craig, who used to be one of my clients as well. Are you still tracking your food?
Yes, yes, yes. Not every day, all day, but yes, I am definitely still tracking, and because there are now little things that I do on, my breakfast is pretty much the same all the time. Meals, as I said, not at the moment because we're in a different kind of like period of time. But yeah, normally yes. So at least, lunch, breakfast, lunch, and maybe the snacks are always tracked. Those are the three things that I can track easier. Then sometimes the dinner can be a little bit like, it depends on when I finish work or whatever. But yeah, no, I'm definitely you know, so tracking, especially the things that are the protein and the carbs, those two things. The vegetables and the fruit, those things I'm a little bit more like freeway because I feel like I've realized by tracking that they actually like quite so like I wouldn't say calorie free, but you can have a lot and still like it doesn't add that much to your calorie intake. But yeah, definitely.
Yes, it sounds to me like you're just relaxing a little bit in terms of tracking, but tracking the things that make the biggest amount of difference. High
Exactly.
calorie
Yeah.
things, protein, making sure you're getting your protein in. So, yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty cool. All right. Next one coming in from Mike Thorpe, who's also one of my current clients. Has your mindset changed at all, or has it slipped at all since finishing 8-9 weeks ago?
No, it's pretty much stayed the same. I think yeah, I think I would probably say it's pretty much stayed the same. The if anything, the only thing that's probably I wouldn't say it's slipped. I think it's just that I'm also like a little bit more forgiving with these times where things can't go exactly the way you want. So I'm like, well, you know what? It's okay if I'm sick, then your health is more important. If now is a time of like holidays and eating, and I don't think Christmas is a time to count calories or be obsessed about working out because it's a time for family, and also lockdowns and like gyms are open and closing, and so I think no, it hasn't actually like I'm still pretty, once I know things are back into my routine, is I feel like it's actually as easy to go like, okay, well, here we go again. This is what I do. Breakfast is this, calorie counting is this, working out is this, and it's this like, okay, we're back into it. I feel like I think I said this throughout the program. I guess what I learned or what I gained in the program was I learned my lane and like this is my methods, and I can fall in and out of the method, but I can come back into it like quite easily. So yeah, so I think like the mindset's pretty much stayed the same.
Which is massive because we all know, and I think we're all starting to learn so much more now. It is the mindset that's the most important thing. So even when you say, yeah, maybe, you've got your track, you can slip off, but you know what it takes to get back on. Even that's a change in mindset, right? To be like, you know what, I can slip off the track a little bit, but I know what I need to do to get straight back on. Even that's a switch in mindset. Whereas I think not specifically to you, but for a lot of people, maybe that do have weight loss, oh, I've slipped and everything goes out the window. But
Yeah.
that's a mindset thing to go into Christmas and all, when things have been a bit tougher, gym's closing. Do you know what? It's all right. I'm not going to beat myself up. I can't go to the gym for 2 weeks. I can control what I can control, and I can get back on track.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Which is awesome. Right, next question. So Mike's loving the hard hitting questions. I think that last one was a great question. So the next one is, do you regret not stepping up to the next level program, which is now the Fearless Man program, the 6-month program?
I guess no. I mean, I thought what I did, the 3 months that I did was kind of like enough for me. So yeah, like if anything, these open kind of like a door to like more coaching that I've been looking into. I'm actually starting a little course, but this is more like for my work and like social media with work and things like that. And I wouldn't say it's it kind of like a little bit like a mentoring program, but it's just very focused on, you know, my Instagram and engagement, and in a way it's actually to actually like make more business, and throughout my, you know, to make Instagram work better for me. I looked into getting like a business lifestyle life coach probably. And this woman, she works mostly with hairdressers, and she's a hairdresser herself. um but in the end I couldn't actually like go for it because it was just like too pricey, and at the moment like I was worried more about my finance. So I feel like I kind of, I thought, yeah, I'll do it. And I feel like the more I thought about it, I thought like, oh, you know, it's going to be a massive stretch. And now where I don't know exactly how much money I'm going to be earning, so I thought I'll just leave it for now. But yeah, if anything, I thought I after doing the 3 months with you, I thought definitely something that I want to do. I want to do more and invest more money into myself. I was just, I guess like after doing yours, which was more focused on, let's say, the fitness, even though it kind of went into like a more personal level, I would probably say. Then now I feel like the next ones I do, they have to be more about work and um and actually how to make more money, basically, which then kind of helps you also invest in more money. It's kind of like this sort of cycle where I make more money so I can invest more money, and then, you know, it's like this thing that kind of fits on itself, I suppose.
All right. Yeah, no, that's awesome. I think when you've had some coaching, whatever coaching it is, business development, life coaching, health, fitness, I see it a lot with clients. I say it opens up Pandora's box. You
Mm,
learn a lot about yourself, and then other avenues open up, and it's like, okay, yeah, maybe I do want to explore this. And I think if there's something you've struggled with in terms of health and fitness, which you then achieve, you hit that goal, you feel good, you think, okay, well, if I can do this, what else can I do? So
yeah,
I've learned
exactly.
a lot, which is awesome. All right, last question before we wrap up.
Cool.
So this is a new guy in the group. What aspects of the process did you find the toughest?
Uh, I don't know, like because everything was so like kind of bit by bit, and it was so like small little steps. I didn't feel like there was anything that was a massive struggle. Um, so for me, everything felt, by the time we, let's say, got to the next step and the next step and the next step, I felt like it was kind of like a natural progression. So yeah, so I don't think there was anything, me personally, that I felt like, oh wow, you know, like this I'm not really liking this, or this is a bit like not boring, but like it's a pain in the ass, or like
Mhm.
every I mean, I guess like I was so like determined to like do it and like make it work that I went in with like, yes, we're gonna do this. So, even the thing that I probably like I thought I was gonna hate the most, which was the calorie counting, by the time we got there, I was like, okay, let's give it a go. And I think maybe there was a little bit of like fight in the beginning where like, I don't understand the app, and it was a bit. But the minute I kind of thought like, okay, you know what, this is actually like it's not that hard. Then it was just like, okay, let's do it. So yeah, maybe there were a couple of things in the beginning where I was a bit like, I felt I could maybe notice myself kind of coming up with little excuses. Oh, but at work and the water and I can't drink and the clients and this and and then once you start doing it and you think, actually, yes, I can go through a day of like, 9 clients a day and still drinking of water, or count my calories, or prepare my food, or, you know, still hit the gym, or my back is sore, but I'll just go for a walk or go for a run or whatever. Then you think, you know what, it really is you that in your head, you're kind of like, or you're kind of talking yourself out of something and you haven't even tried, if that makes sense. But no, I didn't feel like there was anything specifically that was like, you know what, this is really difficult. And yeah, I think, yeah, in that sense, I was very like, yeah, okay, let's go for it.
All right, nice. It's funny what you say actually about the like tracking calories, because I think that's from I do this like around that with my clients when we finish. We've done it together, and I always do that. And so often it's like, do you know what? I thought tracking calories would be a pain, and it's the thing that I didn't want to do. But come to the end of the program, I realized that like the value of doing it. It's the thing that probably comes up like the number one thing. So anyone watching this back, like, don't be afraid to track your calories. It's a really um, it's a really great thing to do, I think. Same as like I always think about things in business for me because I'm running a business. So I think of, if I want to manage my bank account, I need to look at what's going in and out.
Yeah.
Same as your food, same as tracking your calories. So something I recognize a lot. Sometimes there's things you want to say that I haven't asked you. So is there anything you did want to finish up talking about or wrapping up with, Jose, that I haven't asked you today?
No, I think we've pretty much touched base with everything. I think, yeah, I think everything has been said. I think overall is that it's been, great experience. You learn loads. And the one thing I probably noticed, say more to like friends and family, is that yes, when you actually like, when I've talked about it, like everyone's like, oh wow, that is a massive amount of money. But I always say, well, it's an investment, and it's not. I always say this: when you go to a restaurant and you pay, I don't know, in a good restaurant, you pay like 80 quid for a meal, like a really nice meal, let's say, in London, for example, and that's not even like, but let's say, you spend 80 pounds, you've had all your whatever you wanted. That experience, it ends there and then, and you don't take anything out of it other than what you enjoyed in that particular moment. I said, but when you pay for something like this, coaching, personal training, even a service with me as a hairdresser, a haircut, it stays with you for a certain amount of time. So I feel like with coaching, a PT, or online coaching, whatever that is, it's basically everything I learned is for me. So yeah, it is a massive investment, but when you actually break it down and you think, well, this will stay with me and it's going to serve me for a very, very long time, it's actually really worth it. And it's actually not that much if you actually think about it. Because I could go now for a very long time without really needing, fitness coaching again, to being honest. I might need, or I will need coaching in other aspects of my life, but not in this particular aspect. So I think like I would probably say that for me, it is a really good investment. And um and yeah, it's I would probably say it's just money well spent, um better than spending it on clothes or things that are a little bit more superficial, I suppose. So, but I also think maybe we didn't talk about this. You got to be ready mentally. I think if you're not in that moment, or you don't think it's gonna work, or you don't want to put in the work, or you feel like, oh, it's all a little bit of BS, and or it's like I had a friend telling me, oh, you're just paying someone to give you advice. And I'm like, well, yeah, I suppose, but you know, it's clearly working. So how does it
You
matter?
wouldn't pay Bill Gates to get advice from him, though.
Exactly. Yeah. So yes, I think like, yeah, you gotta be in that mindset of, you know what, I'm really not happy with who I am now or what I'm looking now. And then I need that external help to like help me kind of put in some like patterns and habits and procedures. So yeah, you really have to trust the process. Even if you don't know exactly what it's going to look like in the beginning, and then just, you know, kind of like go for it. But yeah, if you're not in the right mindset, or you don't think um someone through a screen telling you something it's going to work, then don't, because it won't work. I do believe that unless you believe that it's going to work, you know, it really won't, you know. So then it's going, when you're going to waste the money, because at the end of the day, if you don't put in the work, you know, you won't see the results. And it is as simple as that, you know.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a really nice way to round up as well. Like, I ask for three things from my clients, and I probably said it to you like week one or when we had our initial call. Commitment, coming into the program committed, honesty, just whatever happens, bring it to the call, and trust. Bring those three things, then you know we always get awesome results together. And my favorite quote from Henry Ford is, "Whether you think you can do a thing or you can't, you are right." So you have to believe you can do it. Whether that's it,
Exactly.
whether you believe you can do it or you can't, either
Yeah.
way, you are right. So you have to come in believing it's going to work. Because if you don't, it's not going to work.
Yeah, that's totally true. Yeah.
All right, nice one, Jose. I appreciate you catching up. I'm glad you're in a really good place, and I enjoy this. I think it's a really nice thing to do. Just catch up, see how you
Yeah.
get. And yeah, I'm really glad that you're in a really good place, and have an awesome Christmas and New Year.
You too.
All right, nice one. Cheers, guys, for tuning into this as well. And I'll see you all soon. Cheers, Jose.
All
See you
right. Take care. Bye. Bye.
later.